Radical acceptance is really about acknowledging what has happened to the individual and acknowledging the impact that it has had on their life. Hey everyone! Today I'd really like to share some insights that I've learned from my counseling. In working with clients, I've observed many come in over the years that have experienced some severe trauma in their life. That trauma could be everything from a death of a loved one, to a divorce, to a loss of a child, or maybe even people who've experienced violence and abuse in some kind of way, or gone through a horrible accident and been disabled. And as I observed these, and I found that it was so difficult for them to be able to move forward and to move on with their life, and they typically seem to be very stuck in this trauma experience that they had. Really tried to seek for a way to help them to move forward. So I really want to talk to you, those of you especially, that may be struggling with trauma in your life or know somebody that has. So today we're going to talk about a really profound concept that I learned about called radical acceptance. So what is radical acceptance? Let me tell you. Radical acceptance is actually a Buddhist term, but it has been taken on by several important therapeutic practices, such as acceptance commitment therapy and dialectical behavior therapy. It's really about acknowledging and embracing the situation so that you are not holding judgment towards yourself and others. It allows people to start to heal. So when I'm talking to people about radical acceptance and they hear the word acceptance, I want to assure them that acceptance doesn't mean that the event that happened was okay. For example, I will always say that people who have committed violence against others or abuse is never going to be okay. And I know that these awful events that have happened to them is not okay. So radical acceptance is really about acknowledging the profound impact of the trauma that a person has experienced and how it has impacted their life so that they can begin the step of healing. Because I found that most people that I work with really grapple with self-blame, self-loathing, anger, hate towards people, and it really makes it difficult for them to move forward. Many people do not realize that when we resist the reality of our suffering, it actually only intensifies the pain that we have. So accepting what has happened to us helps us to conserve our energy for healing rather than fighting against the inevitable. One of the most effective ways that I have found to help my clients with radical acceptance is helping them create a radical acceptance statement that is driven by their core belief system, what they believe in, what their values are. Our core beliefs are guiding principles that typically guide our life and give it meaning. So these kind of statements can make it a little bit easier to help individuals to move forward. And it's something that you can do too. So I encourage everyone to look at what their core beliefs are, what their values are, and then to create a radical acceptance statement that is specific to them. So although I encourage everybody to create their own statement, sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle. So I've learned to help my clients by giving them a few different thoughts or suggestions. Sometimes they really resonate with them and they may choose one of these statements just as you might, or develop their own. So I'm going to read to you a few of them that my clients have come up with. All right, here's the first one. I acknowledge the pain, but I will not let it define me. Or, I cannot change what happened, but I can control how I responded to it. This is my journey, and I can trust that I can handle what comes my way. I trust that everything is happening for a reason, even if I don't understand it now. It is what it is, and I will make the best of what I can control. My worth is not determined by what I experienced. I am worthy of peace and happiness, even in the face of hardship. I accept the moment with equanimity, knowing that life flows like a river and nothing remains the same. I am allowed to feel anger, sadness, and disappointment without letting them control me. I am not a victim of my circumstances, but a survivor with the strength to move forward. Suffering is temporary, and peace will come when I accept the present moment. I am not being punished. I am experiencing the difficulties of reality. I will not let fear or uncertainty prevent me from moving forward. And lastly, I am part of the greater whole. My experiences, no matter how difficult, are part of the life experience. I just want you to know that I have seen how these statements have made a huge difference and an impact in my clients' lives. They were able to embrace the statements that they created and came up with and start to believe them, which empowered them to move forward and accepted the reality of their situation and acknowledge the feelings without judgment. This acceptance can be the very first crucial step to the path of healing and maybe eventually even forgiving yourself or others. So I invite you, take a moment to identify something that you've experienced that maybe seems unchangeable. And perhaps it is a loss or trauma, or maybe just a persistent feeling of pain. Allow yourself to genuinely accept this reality and acknowledge that this is your truth right now and create a statement to help you to own it. This shift can help you to move forward with having and feeling a greater sense of control over your life. You might think about what you can do differently. What would help you to continue to heal? And just remember, radical acceptance is a skill that doesn't happen overnight. Just as my clients, you have to continue working on it and repeat it over and over again. And it's okay to move at your own pace. And remember, if you're really struggling, don't forget to reach out to somebody, a friend, your community, or a clinician like me. If this video resonated with you, I hope you give it a thumbs up and like. And remember that we're going to walk this journey together so that we can accept and heal. So until next time, be gentle with yourself. Take care. And remember that your mind matters because you matter.